Okay, today we're going to talk about clarity and perspective, the ego story, and the truth that is actually lying behind the story, how we can interrupt that pattern and awaken an alternative perspective to allow us the avenue back into our truth, allow us to reach this resilience that is within us, that is all of our energetics and light bodies. Haere here ki talakai. So I'm going to bring through some light language, one to calm me down. I've just come back from the walk and got the upgrade from my team out there. Dala hachkatere hiririki, dala hachkate, hayalala hachkatere hiririki, dalala hakati. So I'm awakening those vibrations that were laid upon me through the bush and through the forest as I walk through these different stages in the track that I've activated to connect me into different team members, whether it's the tree energy or a grandmotherly energy or the galactics or the mystical and the magical with the fairy queen and Heidi Katerehi and Tommy. You can't quite, I haven't got Tommy in here. He's a black tourmaline. Alakaterehiriki, Narahachkatereki. Hayalalala Hachkaterehiriki Tarakai. So clarifying that when our beings, as in my daughter Natasha and I, who are both spiritually awakened and working with clients to help them navigate their lives, whether it's releasing patterns or learning how to understand themselves and awaken to more spiritually and turn it into a business. Halakaterere ki te rakai, or clear their homes and properties. Harerehere ki te rahakai terere ki. We both share a team of beings, but the way I work with them and the way Natasha works with them is very different because I'm my patterns and Natasha's hers. Alakaterere hiriri ki tara hakai tara hiriri ki. Hayalalala hachkaterere hiriri ki tara hakai. Hayalalala hakai tara ki. So I'm grounding in to partly use my brain to express what I've upgraded into. But in doing so, delakaterere ki, my ego likes to have its say, and I need it to get out of my way, and they don't just get out of your way because they're trying to protect you, so I need to create a space, which is the light language, the calming, for my ego to know that it's safe just to calm down and let this alchemical creations and patterns and upgrades that I've activated and been activated with in my walk to come through to you. I like explaining my process of this so that you can understand that you are more in so many ways and just being your human self, which is obviously more than your human self because you're a spiritual being within all your light bodies and energetics. And they come through so subtly. They're not just major download from your guides and it's all very clear and precise. It's little trinkets of testing the water by our team to see whether we're open to receive it yet. And this comes clear a lot when Natasha does a clearing on a house for clients that are generally they're pretty aware of their spiritual energetics and awareness because they know that something's off with their property. But they're also running these patterns that if they can't adjust and create space with their patterns after the clearing's done, they find it difficult to fit back into the house, even though the home and the property is matched to them. It's all within their purest form of self, which they're not used to running at. So their ego is screaming loud and often to interrupt them from finding that quiet space because that quiet space might open into something and it doesn't know how to look after them. It talks a lot, and quite often it can be not just a couple of days for them to recalibrate from the physical changes in their body's structure to match the vibration of the home, but also their mental and emotional patterns that they've been running for a long time to just create or feel safe within the space energetically to quiet. We naturally want to run the treadmill of what we're familiar with because creating space to be quiet means we actually have to step out of our life a little bit and be accountable for our actions. And when you've been running these patterns for so long and you're in the process, that is so loud that quiet time is really scary, which is where team, me and Natasha, the team, having the work with me or having further work with Natasha with it, or it feels, or chakra systems, having them brought back in and almost giving them permission and a prescription to sit within the space numerous times a day, just for little moments, just to sense what they notice in the room. Because quite often when we ask for help from someone else, we want them to solve our problems. And neither Natasha and I are about that. We will create a platform for you to have a clean, clear, aligned platform to match your vibration of spiritual person. But you also have to do the work after my work or Natasha's work to create the space to flow into that. To interrupt the stories. To be active in creating the quiet time to adjust to the new vibrations. And when I keep saying new vibrations, they are the vibrations that linked to your blueprint, which is a common word in spirituality, or your authentic self. Neither which blueprint probably fits me a little bit more than authentic self. It sounds very overused and a lot of money involved in it. So I tend to come back to your true self, your spirit self, your person, what you want to be as in yourself. What are you, when you are the happiest version of yourself, what does it feel like in you? What do my Vicky feels like when I'm in a happy space? And that's what you're tapping into, not trying to be something completely different from yourself. It's tapping into a space within you where you can just sigh that relief. Breathe out, relax, and then just start noticing the energy around you. So, coming back to my walk today, each team member that I walk through, I when I did the tuning in with them and presence with myself and that invitation from them to meet. So that means that waiting and pausing for that invitation to meet is where my ego is wanting to navigate what happens in that space. But frequencies and energies or vibrational frequencies are pure light. For me, they are. Some people vibrate in ranges of frequency that has a lot of darkness that they can access, not meaning that they're dark, but they have that range where they can go into the darkness to get information because it's not all light and all dark. There's a lot of shadow out there. But shadow is just a murky space until we can find a pathway in it. It all has information. It all has vibrational frequency. My version of self is creator energy and self where I activate and can tap into my clients, whatever they're talking about. There's a frequency that runs through with what their words are and what that is in their body. And that can access into their timelines and quantum realms, as in quantum living, and that is where we do the creation, and story is how they express that into their human life. So their story and adjusting the story to match where they're going is important. That I have the ability to change that with other abilities that run through me that I have access to. I'm not going to go into that, but going into these different stages of the forest and meeting my different team members, there is that pausing before you get welcomed into their space because it's like you don't just go and see a friend and barge into their house. Some people do. Our house is a fairly open house, it always has been. But yeah, you don't just walk into someone's house. It's the same thing when you're going through frequencies and talking with your team. You don't just walk in because you are all of you in your mental and emotional and spiritual, all those light bodies and energetic bodies and your ego tagging along to just put that in there. Your team doesn't want all of that. They just want you. They just want to connect with you and your purest, amazing self. And that's where the light codes come through. That's where the alchemical creations come through. In each place I went to with my team, I got a different layering upon me from them that a herereki tala herereki tara kai pala terereki. It's also feed not only feeding yourself with what they offer you and the thoughts and the emotions and the patterns that come up in you to ground it in. So homing the information, grounding it in, bringing it home. And that's what the presidential election for today, and surprise someone has got in, that causes a lot of fear and panic in people. And we can drop into that, or we can come and sit above it and watch. And the only way you can sit above it and watch and is by learning your frequency and pausing until you're in that hold of energetic vibration, so that your team member or your guide or however you access your intuitive states of being, I like is that, to me, it's always been natural that I have my team, my quantum team, and it helps us because we didn't come here alone. Our light body that is within our physical form, our spiritual self, is our person is individual, but our spirit self is all. And we have these qualities and particular abilities within us that as we go through life, we learn and we awaken and we navigate and we grow and we become better human beings, is the ideal pathway for humanity, is that we become better. Arakaterere. Things happen in our environment globally, and we are running frequency, we are noticing energies from others and ourselves, and universally, we can feel like the floor has been, or the rug has been ripped out from underneath us, and we can drop real quick into the lower vibrations. That is more the fear of the ego of protection and navigating future when change is happening. Arehiriki. We always have access to our true vibration of frequency. And to access that is being in spaces of truth, which is nature. Nā hakairehiriki, hayalala hachikatenanahekiteriki. My team is also saying animals as well, but sometimes animals are not the pure love. But my dog Betsy, who passed away a couple of months ago, she came from an abusive background, and we found her from the local SPCA, and she was aged at about 2 when we got her. So she would quite often go through these moods and nightmares, and you never really, because they're an animal, you never really trust them completely. But her love for us, and each of us had such a strong connection to her. One, because she was a rescue animal, so they tend to have such strong protection over the family that they're receiving love from. Arere ki te rakai. And in doing so, Sasha, my daughter who passed February 23, Betsy was her carer and her guide and her protector. So whenever Sasha went, Betsy had to be with her. And both of them, Sasha always loved to lead, Betsy always loved to lead. So when you're watching them walk through tracks or around the ocean, when we'd go for walks for Christmas Day and have the fire around the beach, the two of them would be beating each other to get in first. But when another person came through, Betsy would quickly get back to Sasha and protect her. And that was a cause of worry for me, that Sasha didn't really have control of Betsy. Natasha and I did, because we're the pecking order in the family, but Sasha and Betsy were equal, but then Betsy was her guide, her protector. So it was always a little scary when other dogs or other people came around Sasha, that she would move around and just separate Sasha away from the other dog or the other people. It was amazing to watch. And Sasha loved knowing that she had this connection with Betsy, and Betsy was her protector, and it was all fun. But it's all fun until it goes wrong with another dog. So anyway, moving on from that. I'll bring through some light language so I can get back on track. So when I talk about Sasha, I tend to whoop, drift off. Okay, so thank you. lifting the vibration back up, we can have the rug ripped out from underneath us and we feel like we're lost and we want to come back into our vibration. And it's by coming into your breath. When I first started walking, my breath was really up here, and I noticed there was like a cage around my organs, protecting my organs. And mm, it's not something that I was conscious until I was working with the track and the energies of the track and them, the beings, I'm saying, come home. And that's what we need to do when we're transitioning through the next stage of however that means for you personally or in business with the global change that's happened. Like we can drop into fear and anxiety and panic. That is a thought and that is a feeling and emotion. It's external to us that we attach a story to. So we can quite easily, if we practice, back into our home, back into our breath. And the best way, like I talk about, is going into nature. But you can do it in your home spaces as well. On my website, vickywallace.net, I have a free PDF download, Creating Sacred Spaces, and there's an energetic transmission in there. I've been working through upgrading that. Here, as we go through this year end and into next year, I look at that here, Natasha and I will join our businesses together and become Vicky and Natasha moving forward. So I'm working through a new website, new information, and that these downloads will be uploaded for you to get the benefit of. So when you download that, you join my mailing list and I'll be able to send you the new activation that I did a couple of days ago with the elemental beings. And it was extremely powerful. Threw Natasha off for the day. So when she does the grids in the house, or if I do an energetic transmission, we both are like, "Ooh," but seasick for a while until we navigate our home space, our grounding in our body, how to adjust to the new vibration. Same again with people in homes, adjust to the new vibration. But you need to create the space to adjust there. Walking through the track, I have Eloise, my fern, who I step into, and she's gone through many changes of what I vision when I'm in her space. So now when I'm in her space and I ask her to show me what I need to see or what I need to be aware of, it's always coming. Today it was particularly coming home, but I am the home. My physical form is the home now, instead of standing in her space and energy and viewing a perspective of a hut high up in the mountainside. I like to disappear away from people into my protective little cave spaces. There's when we are energetically awake and we transmit so much frequency, we awakened beings need to move away from the noise, physically move away from the noise. And when you tap into quantum living with frequencies and being able to create these spaces within your own space, you tend to go away to another space. But what Eloise has been showing me over the last few months is that my form is my home. And I need to remember that I'm vibrating at a higher vibration, but yet with grieving Sasha, I always drop so quickly out of that with the responses from people or places or things and the energies out and about. I drop real quick. So she's teaching me each time I go out there and I want to see a home or feel like I'm going to a home, I want to go out of me into another space. She's like, no, you are your home. Come back home. So she keeps reminding me about that. The the other area where there's like a clearing and a platform and I can look out over the city, but I'm in the bush and I have all the birds flying around me and I have the familiar trees that when I first started waking up, it was a lot of placing crystals and playing with the fairies. I was fairy elemental, dragon energy, seeing the baby dragons and hatchlings. One followed me home. Tommy the fairy followed me home. So really tapping into these other beings around me that feed my ability to access ranges of frequency in my Vicky. for service of others. Halaka tēnei ki te rera hirariki. And the fairy queen, when I got to her, I stopped and Tommy, her son, and it was not so much having a conversation intuitively, it's more a coating of resilience that gets layered upon me. And so that walking through, I'm waiting to be met by her or waiting the invitation to walk through this. It's like a cathedral-like space with the trees meeting, and it was quite dark today the way the sun was, so it was like you're walking into a tunnel, Harikaterereke, and just having her place these alchemical vibrations and cloaks on me. Tarereke, rarakairo, tururoko, turokoro, kuterenehi, kuterereke, hayalalala, hachikaterereke. And then walking through that to the tree where I like to sit and do the final connecting with Gaia and really become familiar with this tree. Hareherereke, tarahachkaterereke, standing with this tree is dual masculine, feminine. Some trees are particularly one, but really it's irrelevant because it's what I feel when I'm in the space with this energy. And I was talking to them about the scarring and the anger I have with the loss of Sasha and how that came about. And as a mother, my story in that, and how we transfer this onto other people, which comes back to what our emotions and thoughts are and how we create these stories are not always the truth. So, this energy being this tree was just showing me how when they get hurt and the sap comes through to heal it, which causes the scarring. But underneath the scarring is all these new properties that are there. And there's also this activation of toxins that run through the body. And if I come back into that space of being with this tree, the toxins is the anger that is running through me and causing the tightness in my body and the mental angst in my head and the stories to create hold again, to run them again. I have another layer to that now of visioning standing there. And because I stood there for a length of time, by being in these spaces for a length of time, we embody the physical memory of it. So I can just tap into this space of being with this tree and feeling the sap come out and the crystals that create new life and new direction in the tree and the toxins of flow of fluids running out of the tree. Ayarariki, feeling your feet on the ground and the root system of the trees. We get to journey our story through a process of healing that nature does itself. And it takes us out of our own hurt into more. We are joined by our beings, trees, to for them to show us the flow and not get caught on the mental state of it. Just the flow and the natural ability to release, clear and align, and new growth start again. So I spent length of time there and really enjoying the journey that this tree took me on through healing my anger and the story that was running of it and the recognition of it that I had changed the sense of feeling in myself. My own physiology had changed so quickly. And that's that supportive self where you find resilience in yourself to create change quicker by being present and quiet and being waiting for that welcome to then move on again. These times of presence and awareness don't need to be long when you do them regularly. And it takes that state of being that you are going to protect yourself and choose to be better and to see things with a different perspective and to interrupt the flow of negativity and low vibration, to come out of that and to sit within a space where you can awaken your perspective, but first grounding clear where you're at, get resonance of where you're at now, so that when you come out of it, your platform forms up again. The carpet it comes back in and it can lift you up again. Tara here ki, tere ki. And you don't need to drop into the lower vibrations. You don't need to be connected to them in your ego mind story any longer. They can just do their thing because they will always do their thing. There will always be low because we're there, we're humans. So there's always going to be negative fighting, low vibration, and people that are determined to make someone else's life a misery. Tara here ki. And we don't want to be in that. We want to be away from that. Hare Hedeke. And when we're away from that and can separate out and create the awareness within self with the resilience of however Hare Kere we access that, for me, my energetic team, my different beings, my track, my nature, Tere Hedeke, Tarakai, tapping into these frequencies, Talaka Tereke, Nala Hachkate, Hayalala Hachkate Hedeke, Hayalala Hachkate Hedeke. Hayalalalahakai darakai. My hand is still out there because when we are verbalizing frequency and energy, and I am very primal to the point, it is what it is, someone else who is not vibrating it at a higher vibration to come in. Halakatereke, and that ain't happening. So so that's why my hand is up there because there's another vibration that's wanting to come in. So like, nah, you can F off. Not welcome here. Tara hachkatereki. Hayalala hachkatereki. Waiting for someone on my team to come through. The water frequencies are coming through and washing it away. Alakatereki. So there's so much that you can tap into for energetic vibrations of your own light bodies to create these little pockets of resources and strategies that you can quickly tap into that are energetic, but they're quick and they take you out of the low vibration and into your field and home you so that you can find that resilience to then move forward and with greater perspective and clarity and more alignment with yourself as of being a better person from the lower vibrations that were taking you down a different route that wasn't so nice. Hara here ki tara hachkete na hekete na hakai hayalala hachkete re hachkete re here ki hayalala hachkete re ki. Okay, so I hope you found something useful out of today's journey and tap into my website, vickywallace.net, because I am doing a December masterclass. I'm weighing up whether I do a November one as well, just helping us clear away what we've accumulated throughout this year and come into awareness of it so that we can just adjust and go through the festive season and into next year with a little bit more clarity and perspective and openness to access your light and let the shadow flow through without honing in on something. Hare here ki tara kai taro hororo ko para hachikatere here ki tara hachikatere na heki. Hayalalala hachikatere ki. Oh, my love. Take care. Bye.